Let's go to clip number 3. This is my favorite clip in the movie. And if I'm taking my top 20 sales movies of all time, top 15 in there, and I'm pulling out 3 or 4 scenes from each one, this is going to be in my top 5. I absolutely love the scene. Let's dig into it now. This is Giovanni Ribisi, Seth. He's at home on a Saturday morning, eating some cereal. Do you notice what he's eating?
Was it Wheaties? Or no, was it? It was
Close.
a
Shredded wheat without the frosting.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Unacceptable.
Yeah,
anyway, he's slurping that down and he gets a call at his kitchen table and someone is selling him. Let's dig into that now.
Hello?
Hi, Mr. Davis. This is Ron calling you from the Daily News. How you doing this morning?
It's Davis, and I'm not interested.
Okay, I'm sorry to have bothered you. Have a nice day.
Wait a minute. Wait, that's your pitch? You consider that a sales call?
Well,
You know, I get a call from you guys every Saturday, and it's always the same half-assed attempt. If you guys want to close me, you should sell me.
all right.
All right, start again.
Okay. Hi. This is Ron from the Daily News. How you doing this morning?
What do you want?
It's not what I want, sir. It's what you want.
Ron, now we're talking. All right, what are you selling me?
I'm offering you a subscription to the Daily News at a substantially reduced price. We're trying to reach out to people that have never had home delivery before.
Right, so basically you're saying that everybody else who already has a subscription is getting on this one?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, well, I can handle that. So tell me, why should I buy your paper? I mean, you know, I mean, why shouldn't I get the Times or the Voice, you know?
Well, the Village Voice is free, sir, so if you want it, you should certainly pick it up. But the Daily News offers you something no other paper can, a real taste of New York. We have the best features, more photographs than any other daily in New York, and we have the most reliable delivery in the city. Now, what do you think?
You know what I think, Ron? I think that was a sales call. Good job, buddy.
So you're going to buy a subscription?
No, I already get the Times.
So that scene with Seth, he's at home. It's Saturday morning. He's eating whatever nasty cereal that was. But yeah, he gets this call, this prospect call about a newspaper guy who wants to sell him a subscription service. And the guy is calling on a Saturday morning, so that tells you one thing. He's probably got nothing working out for him. But Seth kind of turns the conversation around. Yeah. And you see at the end of the day that he is trying to now be the teacher and show this guy who's just prospecting him, just happens to pick up the phone to Seth and starts getting a lesson on how to sell newspapers. And he just doesn't let him go within the first couple 30 seconds or a minute. He basically makes him suffer through the whole interview process of why he called up to sell him the newspaper, but he's basically trying to sell him back to say, look, you can be better than this, and this is how you're going to do it. And at the end of the phone conversation, you kind of pick up the authenticity of Seth, and that does he really need to go through, if we back up to this whole movie where he was in that room full of trainees, does he really need to go through that process? Because I feel that he is authentic. He is genuine, where all those other guys we spoke about earlier are so much more about that extrinsic value of just making money and material items, where Seth at the end of the day is a really good guy. The only problem is just he disappointed his dad. And that's a whole nother issue. But yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because we hadn't talked about it, but I said it's not in a scene. It's the underlying current that drives the entire movie, which is earning respect from his father, who's the judge, right, who looks down upon his son for the bad choices he's made of running his own casino and then joining, JT Marlin. We should come back to that because in our industry, multi-generational families, you know something about this, these businesses about the sometimes unspoken but very, very real, and you can often sense it. I will come into some of these early meetings I have with our new clients, and I'm like, okay, there is a dynamic here at play. And oftentimes it's father and son, but not always, right? We have uncles and aunts and different cousins and stuff. Anyway, we're going to set that aside for now. I like what Seth says. All right, now we're talking, right? He reframes it to start again. And he says, what are you selling? This seems obvious, right? We know what we're selling. I can tell you this is false. Sometimes we don't know what we're selling. Right. And in the sales training yesterday, we go through these and we get a video camera out and we put some salespeople in front of actual business owners. and we have a 20-minute hard stop meeting. In one of them, they went 13 minutes with preparation. And at the 13th minute, the business owner says, all right, can we just slow down for a minute? What are you guys trying to sell me? And the reaction from the people who were there were like, oh gosh, we screwed this up. We're 13 minutes into a 20-minute conversation. We haven't even told them what we're trying to sell them. That blows my mind, but this is common, right?
Yeah, it is. But if you go back, it's such a basic, in that scene, it's so basic. It's a newspaper subscription. What's important to you if you're going to go into that and say, all right, yeah, and you're Seth and you've done it, you're slap of this guy who called you on a Saturday morning and you say, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna, you got me. I'll do the subscription. What matters to you? When you wake up the next morning, that newspaper's there in your driveway, not just that day, every day at a certain point before you leave for work. And if it's not there, you're no different than anybody else. So that's what I want. You know, if I'm Seth, that it could be a newspaper, it could be a milk delivery, it could be my Kepco bottle, you know, spring water delivered to my house. I want it there when I want it there. So basically, it's about if you're selling me something. You're making a promise. You need to show that to me. It needs to be constant. It needs to be repetitive to the point where I can trust you because that comes over time. It's not that first newspaper delivery. It's day after day, consistency. That's what you're selling, but you have to prove that. So when we talk about prospecting, you're trying to sell something, it's so hard just to make that scratch into that surface. But then once you're in, that's fine. It doesn't end there. You don't flip a switch and you hand it over and say, all right, now take this ball and run with it. You have to be consistent. You have to be repetitive because that trust is earned over time. And that trust is so important to that relationship because that's how we run our business. And I believe why we've been so successful is just because we have customers that have been with us for generations, just as our business has been, but it's because of that trust that was developed so long ago and continues to this day because we're consistent, we're genuine, and we care.
We often see this with sales processes, and many of our clients, they don't have a sales process. We start putting it in, they'll say, oh, we're just going to put that as follow-up. I go, what does follow-up mean? Well, it means like a million things. I'm like, we need to codify that. What are the behaviors? What's the checklist? Because follow-up is where that trust is built, right? The other thing here too is, this is straight out of, Miller Hyman kind of sales strategy 101 stuff, which is what is your single sales objective? Too often we talk to sales pros and I'll say, okay, you're going to this meeting, you're going to lunch, you're taking them Chipotle, whatever you're doing. What is your single sales objective? Oh, I don't know. I just want to build a relationship, get closer. No, every point of contact should have a single sales objective. And you should be able to have a couple different layers of that to know that we're building towards the right thing. And that's what I kind of took away when he says, all right, what are you selling, right? At that point, what is your single sales objective? Well, it's quite frankly, he's pitching, your delivery, which you point out, but also the content within the Village voice. How is it different?
And I also do think that it's really about listening. So on that phone call, it's such a tough medium to work with because you're dealing with a phone and listening. You're not seeing the person, you're just hearing. And it's so important to listen. So if you're going out to say having lunch with a customer, with a vendor, and you're just kind of starting off with somebody, you have to listen. And it's not all about you. Find out what it's about, that person's who they are, their history, all sorts of things, but find out about them because nobody wants to hear about you.
Right.
And listen. And I think if you can listen and just stop talking and you will get a lot more gain from that for the next meeting that you have.
Yeah.
But for this, it's like anything else, right? It's the Village Voice, it's the Daily News. It's like, why do you go to a certain coffee shop on your street when there's a million other ones you can go to? It's consistent. They're friendly. You enjoy going. You look forward to going there. You want to do business with them again. And that's really where that success ratio comes in. Because if you as a customer enjoy going to that place to do business, get your cup of coffee, buy that newspaper, or choose that lumber and building material supplier, that you've got it. And make that and replicate it a million times.
Yeah.